Brian Fitzpatrick in the long-awaited primary. How often have we heard Brian Fitzpatrick's name come up here on the show when he comes on, et cetera? People are restless, and I get that. But several people yesterday, people that, I really like that we have on the air, I respect them, immediately messaging me behind the scenes off Twitter saying, aren't you worried, though? So there was celebration, jubilation, and at the same time, what would happen if Mark Houck wins? Now, Mark Houck will be here at 12:30 so that you can assess his campaign. Remember, Mark is the guy who led the protest, anti-abortion protest over here in Philadelphia. Story morphed nationally to be the face of government overreach. And I've seen in some of the stuff he said and put out that that'll be his major message or what he is talking about coming off his own lived experience, the unbelievable overreach of government in every aspect of our lives, headlined by Mark with his wife and 7 kids having their home under siege from the FBI, heavily armed, 15 heavily armed men, and state police. That Mark Houck, who had a little bit of a dust up with this cranky, what do they call those, protectors of women getting abortions, where even Larry Krasner didn't charge him, and yet it ended up with Merrick Garland going after him. And a jury here in Philadelphia saying, get the hell out of here pretty quickly at the trial. So he'll be here at 12:30 today. I want to hear your gut instinct, because this affects you, whether you're in Bucks County or not. That's where the congressional seat is. But you know how tight the margin is in the House, and it's going to be ferocious in 2024 to maintain. Now, I think they should, but you see the difficulty. Even when they have the margin that they have now, 1 or 2 people can hold everything up, demanding all kinds of things. If it gets any closer than that, that's not good. And this is a seat they'll go all after. I don't know who the Democrat is they'll put up to run against a Republican in Bucks County. And Fitzpatrick has won handily, but against Scott Wallace, who had $1 gazillion, it was very, very close. So I know the antagonism toward Brian Fitzpatrick. Any number of times he's one of 12 to 13 Republicans nationally on something big that votes, in my mind, your mind too, the wrong way. His name appears frequently there. I think he's a principled guy. The argument on the other side is you're not going to win in Bucks County. You need a Brian Fitzpatrick type of candidate. It brings up the whole thing, one of my pet projects. Why have the suburbs changed so much that an outright, 2 of them, outright hypocrites, virtue signalers, just hacks, the Dean of Decency and her shotgun partner, the Scanlon, there's not even competition for those seats anymore. Pat Meehan used to be out there in Delaware County, would win that. Montgomery County for some time, though, has gone the way of becoming increasingly radical. Chester County, you have the Houlihan. So Fitzpatrick is the last remaining Republican. I know, in name only is the argument. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, we get it. So here we have a classic. I thought people would be a little bit more celebrating. A lot were. I mean, this is a classic Mark Houck running on this. The only other trepidation, and you'll hear him at 12:30 with me, is that abortion, of course, is the story that got him to become a national figure all over the place. And you know my trepidation with that in 2024, but I think he's going to say he's not going to be engaging in that solely, or that's not the main message. It's more the federal government in our lives, illegal immigration, all kinds of things. He could win. Now, it's amazing. Bucks County is amazing in that in the hinterlands of Bucks County, you have some very conservative groups, very, very conservative activists, Meg Brock. There's a whole bunch of them in Bucks County. We've asked, why Bucks County? But then on the other hand, you have where a lot of the voters are, and it's that typical moderate Republican, country club Republican, the soccer moms, the suburban moms that get turned off, apparently, to conservatism. And that's where Fitzpatrick comes in. His brother, Mike Fitzpatrick, won there too and had a similar MO, not quite as much, I would say. So that's where we are. And I've beaten the drum. Doug Mastriano is nuts on top of everything else. I don't think Mark Houck is Doug Mastriano, but, that's how he'll be billed if he gets the nomination. And if he happened to be in the race against some Democrat out there, anything could happen. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All that you have to do is just push pound 1210. Push pound 1210 will get to you. Are you happy about that? Do you have reservations? I gave you some of the reservations. And again, I don't think Mark Houck comes across as a bomb thrower or anything else like that. But the issue of abortion is, you know how that plays out. It's going to be fascinating in this Republican primary. As I said, there is widespread, even in Bucks County, among conservatives, antagonism toward Brian Fitzpatrick. But then people look at the alternate and say, well, we don't want a Democrat in there. We come back to this dilemma again and again and again and again. Whereas with Scanlon and Dean, they vote with the more radical elements of the party on many occasions, particularly the Dean of Decency. There doesn't seem to be any hold over on them. I'll ask him, too, about the war in Ukraine, because that is another bellwether for Fitzpatrick, as you know. You can hit me on Twitter with other areas. Mark Houck at 1230. Yesterday, Dan's dogged pursuit of Kirk Cameron paid off. If you missed the interview, it's up on the station's website. It was tremendous. He was very, very engaged, fired up, because this Saturday, 268 libraries or more across the country are going to have this day, get to the library. And what's going to see you at the library? People are going to come and read to the kids the books that they want, etc. But there's a fly in the ointment. These librarians. I'm going to play you, Cameron mentioned it yesterday. I'm going to play you a cut of, well, here's what Kirk Cameron told me yesterday about this See You at the Library Day. I've only been able to identify, or Dan did yesterday. I went on again. It's a messy website. I'd rather just see a list of state by state. Hokessing, Delaware, Telford, and Haddon Township are the three that we have found. If you know of others, let us know. Or around 10 o'clock or so in the morning, people are going to gather at said library. I think some of them are going to be singing Christian songs. Oh, my God, that'll conflict with the tunes of the Drag Queen Story Hour. There's been threats from drag queens to show up here. We'll show them across the country. Try that in Texas, buddy. We'll see what happens. Try that in Jason Aldean's town. He's working on another tune, probably. All right. Here's Cameron talking about the American Library Association not liking this. More people come to the library with their kids. Why wouldn't you like that? Here's what he told me.
The truth is, when moms and dads are being told that you can't go to the public library that you paid for with your tax dollars to read your favorite children's book to your children, that's just wrong. And we let that happen on our watch. So what the ALA is specifically doing has even gotten state senators involved, like Marco Rubio and Ashcroft and others. We have collectively written letters to the U.S. government asking them to investigate this religious discrimination and stop sending them taxpayer dollars to teach librarians how to shut out good families from their libraries. And this isn't hyperbole. You could just go online and check it out. Her name's Deborah Caldwell Stone. She's the director of the Office of Intellectual Freedom for the American Library Association. And you can watch the video yourself where she mentions me and Brave Books by name and teaching librarians how to effectively sabotage and block the event by doing things like not offering reading rooms on that day, or even what if you have programming where you're filling your library with rainbows and other types of things that don't leave any available space open for this See You at the Library Day. So this is just intentional, outright viewpoint discrimination based on values that are not lining up with these communities.
And with these librarians. So here is the aforementioned Deborah Caldwell Stone that Kirk Cameron just mentioned. Here's what she told people and what librarians, you got a nice library there. Here's something you can do. And I'll give you one from Reddit, a local library, I believe might be local, saying what she's going to do to prevent this on Saturday. Here's one of the leaders of the American Library Association.
Seeing groups that seek to censor LGBTQA materials or disparage or silence LGBTQA library users, exploit the open nature of a public library to advance their agendas. For example, right now, Brave Books and Kirk Cameron are conducting a campaign to take over libraries on August 5th by encouraging individuals to apply to use library meeting rooms for Kirk Cameron story hours. So let's look at how you can use that public forum doctrine to construct policies and procedures that will help you keep control of the library yourself. First, remember that as I said before, libraries are for receipt of information. That means that the First Amendment does not require the library to even offer meeting room spaces. So this, in regard to the Kirk Cameron thing, you are not obligated to offer public meeting room spaces or invite the public in to use the library. Of course, this might be something you don't want to do. You don't want to deny your community access to a public meeting room to serve those community members and community groups that really need to use it. In which case, you need to develop policies that leave you in control of the library. So here are some of the options that allow you to keep control of your library and its meeting rooms for the use of your community and for the use of the library users who might be targeted by a particular event. You can limit access to meeting rooms to persons eligible to hold a library card in your community. You can make a priority for library-sponsored programs. And what if your library decided to offer a whole host of programs in its meeting room on August 5th?
All right, now let's stop it right there, you clown creep. Yeah, we're having libraries. What are you doing in there? We're making hot dogs. What's it to you? You're not getting in the reading room. And in that typical library, this is what you can do. Now, I can't tell you to be doing this. This is the American Library Association. Moms and dads taking their kids this Saturday. I hope to go to the one over in Haddon Township. Yeah, let's block off those reading rooms. We don't want them in there reading and singing those Christians. Reddit, one of Dan the Red's favorite websites, has this librarian who says, sure, they can schedule one of those at my library, but coincidentally, we'll also be having an enormous pride display that day on every display surface on the way to the meeting room. It would be more mature to pretend not to notice them, probably, but I don't have any patience for that blank from the librarian. What is it with these usually women? It could be men too. Who do they think they are? Well, they're part of this Praetorian Guard attacking traditional America because traditional America has found that everybody should be able to use these. I've done shows over the years, Dan, where they allowed NAMBLA. You know what NAMBLA is? You probably never heard of it. They've been kind of defunct.
The National American Man Boy Lovers Association.
Oh, very good. Yes.
I watch a lot of South Park. They did a whole episode on it.
Okay. They gave them meeting space. Yeah, NAMBLA, come on in, guys. Christians, no, NAMBLA's got that room set today. Imagine if they try to do one of these in Philadelphia. I don't even know if they tried. We only have the ones that we picked up yesterday. All right, so phone lines are 855-839-1210. You get on board. Librarians now. All right, in addition to that, I want to dust off what Howard Stern said about Trump. Not audio, I just remember it. In light of what they're doing, what's going to happen today in some of these charges, there's a lot more developing today, of course, on the Trump watch. Side question, though. Yesterday, Kirk Cameron was so charismatic, I guess is the word I'd say, for his cause. We both noticed it. We thought, give us somebody alive or dead that is charismatic, or they were charismatic.
Yeah.
Would be the way to. No, Trump is not an answer. The same thing. We're not trying to make it a bit lighter. All right, I'll take a couple off, Dan. As far as I can tell, Cleopatra may or may not have been beautiful, but she obviously was charismatic.
Yeah, she got very popular.
Big time.
Yeah.
And probably, it's hard to say. I got 2 or 3 others pretty close, but for my money, Martin Luther King Jr., probably the greatest speaker in history. And several moments, the speech the night before he was assassinated, where he's telling them he may not get there with them and all.
That man can make a lullaby entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
His speeches were
just amazing. Just amazing energy. So definitely charismatic. You could be a fictional character if you want. Who do you have?
I'm taking Regis Philbin off the board as one.
Ah, very good.
I think about that. Every time the guy speaks, it's just exuding charisma. And I got to go into the world of wrestling for another one. That being John Cena. Very
He's charismatic.
Oh, yeah. Just a great personality. Always brightens up rooms. I mean, he has like a record for the amount of Make-A-Wishes he's done just because he brings so much light to people's lives. I think John Cena is a very charismatic individual.
All right. I don't have that much. I thought he was more vanilla. That was the role, but I'll take your word for it.
Oh, he's pretty vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is with wrestling, to get over, that's the term, is getting over, you have to have some kind of charisma. You got to be good at promo. And John Cena is kind of known as one of the all-time great promo people because he just had the charisma that came out.
Look at the role that I took there at Mayberry Night a week ago.
Yeah.
I took the heel role.
You were the heel.
I'm from South Philly.
You got over pretty well, too. You got some booze.
Yes, it was pretty good. What the heck's going on here?
I'm corrected by ipso facto on YouTube. NAMBLA is actually the National American Marlon Brando Lookalike Association.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
that's why the librarians are doing it. Thank you for that. 855-839-1210. Coming up, the Reverend Al Sharpton, you can't make this stuff up. Attacking Trump, he says, imagine Madison or Jefferson trying to overthrow the government. Huh? Hey, Reverend Al, what history did you take? Maybe you ought to go to Florida and take the DeSantis course. Imagine Jefferson trying to overthrow the government. What? We'll play that for you and take your calls next here on Talk Radio 1210. Dom Giordano Show, good Thursday. So yesterday we had Kurt Cameron on, and it's for a lot of people, of course, growing pains, the role he played. It was fascinating, the work this guy's doing. He's got somebody big in his corner, too, though. I don't know if they're going to be at every library. I would not mess around with them. The head of Moms for Liberty, a couple of them are going to be with them. Emily Jones, chair of the chapter in Madison County, Alabama, says she felt called by God to host the book event, beyond grateful. So in Alabama, I don't think the librarians are going to say, get the hell out of here. It's Alabama. You don't have to get a meeting room. But in Philadelphia, I just think that's right. You try to do the free library, if say the main branch and you're coming in there singing Christian hymns. Oh, no, you're not in Philadelphia. No way we're letting that happen.
So offensive, all those, hymns about love and
Yes.
togetherness and God. Oh, no.
And the woman librarian on Reddit,
Can't believe this world we
enormous
live in.
pride displays we're going to have across. Let them have their kids see the pride displays.
All those explicit terms in that Christian music, you can't have that around the kids, but those
Yeah.
nude pictures and books, totally fine.
Are these
Sarcasm.
Are these drag queen story hour people actually going to show up and try to get in their face? My God. Probably in some of these libraries across the country.
So
It's just-
backwards, man.
Yeah, it's hand in. Why not just ignore them? Let them have their day. They're reading books to their kids. No, they're coming in. We don't want them in our libraries. We know what this is about with Kirk Cameron. That's not what we heard yesterday. We didn't hear any of that. All right. Now, President Trump today, we believe around 4:00. I see they put up the fencing around the Capitol again. Is going to surrender or be the arraignment will happen with these kangaroo courts in Washington. You'll have almost no shot there. I don't think they'll change the venue. This will end up on appeal. But I hearken back to a couple of things. One local I'll develop a little bit later on. But one of the things they're trying to do with this stuff is not just convict Trump, not just put all the January 6th imagery out there right before the election. It's to make you believe that Trump is conning you. He's lying to you. You're a mark. Ha, ha, ha. Look at these dopes killing themselves over me. I don't believe any of this. That's what they're having you try to believe. And this is exactly why Howard Stern went after me for 11 and a half. Well, it was tepid. Dumb Giordano. I mean, don't they have better writers there? I thought they really have gone. I thought they had a team of writers in the back room
Well,
say
they do.
this.
Yeah, they have
Yes.
meetings. Yeah.
I guess he thought dumb Giordano was the best thing to put out there. And even with I have Dan, he's got Robin. Robin's making $10 million a year, probably, right? That's the best they
I
could
think
come
that's
up with.
a light estimate.
Yeah,
This guy actually goes out during his radio show and patrols the border during
Absolutely.
his commercial breaks.
one of my favorites from that. And I
This
think
guy actually goes out during his
and what stung him was he had written something. There was something out there where he said, I know Donald Trump. He's mocking you, you dopes. Don't you get it? You're just a mark for him. It's Barnum and Bailey. Now, is Trump particularly religious? No, not. We've been through this. Everybody knows that.
Oh, no.
That's it. All right.
Dummy Giordano.
Give that writer a raise. Dumb Giordano. Dummy Giordano. Let's try that one. So that set him off. His producer heard this. I don't know if I guess it was up on podcast or something. Maybe I had written something too.
Like when I was there, JD,
Right.
what he would do is he'd have like 6 TVs in his office and he'd be monitoring multiple televisions
Okay.
for clips, that kind of thing. And part of his job was scouring the internet, scraping it for any mentions of Howard Stern. And I'm assuming that after we posted the podcast, we mentioned Howard Stern's name in the podcast description. He Googled it, saw it, listened to it, and cut it up for him.
I may have written something too, and then maybe went to. I may have done both. And I know what I said because I stick by it, that he's mad. He thinks he's the smarter guy. He flirted with running, if you remember, for governor of New Jersey, I guess it was, or New York. And it's got to be going to Donald Trump. Mark Cuban has the same thing. He looks at it and says, that's me. But he doesn't want to go through what you have to put up with and the
Here's
damage you
here's
get.
dumb Giordano talking about me, the guy next door. The good guy next door.
Got under the skin there, buddy.
That's a
I didn't
great
even
push
get
there.
to the hair and the wig and all that. Get a better wig then. Hey, that hair. I was waiting for some hair attack there. That hair is not
I
real.
got
It's
an
a
up
horse
close
wig.
look, man. I don't think it's a wig.
No,
No.
he says it is.
He said people pull on it to prove that it's not
Oh,
a wig.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I would not offend another guy's hair. I know.
I think they're implants.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, implants are fine for your head. I
Yeah.
endorse that.
Yeah. But,
Still your hair.
Yeah.
No problem. So I see here what they're trying to do is this whole, and it shouldn't be an issue, whether Trump believed in his heart of hearts that he lost or he didn't believe legally. And I saw Mark Levin today. It was nuts. Fox and Friends, you're on for 4.5 minutes. It's a tight clock. They have to. Mark Levin said, "Are you going to give me a few minutes?" And Brian Kilmeade looked like, what the heck? I got a gun to my head here. And he just ran it for like 10 minutes. So he made the point. It doesn't matter whether Trump believed he lost the election, did not believe it. It's all under the guise of trying to get a fair shake in an election. We've talked about it many times. Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris, Hillary. Everybody feels something went wrong. If they lost, they should have beaten the other person. This is all going to come back to these electors. The other slates that were set up to jump in there with the Electoral College vote. Who said what? What was Trump told about how to do this that would be legal? Is that all outlandish? Look, I think some of the Eastman stuff is outlandish. It doesn't matter, though. That is not what it's about. It's about you have a right to try to fight back to say this election had a lot of elements in it that are completely out of bounds. So how are you supposed to conduct in the future contending that you don't think the vote was proper? Are we just going to say, well, no, you're not allowed to do that? Whoever the media says won, they're the people that won. Even with all the COVID-related stuff, mail-in ballots, what are the rules? No one seems to know at this point because Trump has offended, allegedly, on these. It's going to make it harder. And here's the turning point today. Trump tweets out, that's okay. We're going to win in 2024, MAGA. And then essentially we're going to get even. This is what we don't want. No, I'm not blaming the attitude. I'm not blaming him on this. Where does that end then? And there are people listening right now. So I don't care where it ends. That's exactly right. I see that. So if Trump wins, what's the punishment? Now, Trump, to his credit, didn't do that with the Clintons, even though a lot of people would have liked to have seen it. In other words, Trump did not sig the Department of Justice, IRS, or anything else on the Clintons, even though, without a doubt, there could be grounds for it. He thought it was better to move past. He won the election, move past that. Let's not continue to fight this battle. Well, if he wins this time, though, the attitude's going to be different because now he's thrice indicted. So let me bring you to the stylings of the Reverend Al. And Dan, at the beginning of this, the Reverend Al on Morning Joe said he would be walking around in Brownsville, where he made his mark as an activist. And people would say, hey, Rev, they dropped some paper on me. Meaning indicted again. And he said, nobody ever told me they had paper dropped on him 3 times, like Trump. But then he says, imagine trying to overthrow the government. Imagine Madison or Jefferson trying to overthrow the government. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot myself. We'll play that because Mark Halk is next, the man of the hour, here with Dom. We'll talk with him. First, let me tell you about Captain Chucky's. Hey, for all seafood lovers who still haven't tried Captain Chucky's crab cakes, what are you waiting for? Captain Chucky's and Vera Pasta Company, 2 brand new ravioli varieties, the bangin' crab, the lobster ravioli, and now available their great new blush sauce. Several choices of breaded, non-breaded crab cakes, literally a crab cake for everybody. It's dessert, soup, sides, appetizers, my personal favorite, the Dom roll. Their Gulf shrimp, huge hit. It's always wild caught, never farm raised. Captain Chucky's now has 18 locations. Very soon it'll be 20. There's Terry and Al Moser in Colmar, John and Cindy Clark in Huntington Valley, Tony and Jamie Parson in Cinnamenson, in Runnymede, New Jersey. See the Vogelsang family in Flowertown, the Smaraglia family in Ocean City, Chris and Donna Ryan, Seattle, the McCann family. In Avalon, the Fasolati family. Now, Shore locations open daily from 11 a.m. Congrats to Sam Cancelleri, Irish Mike McGarry. They prepare to open their new Chucky's store in Medford, New Jersey. And coming soon to Northeast Philadelphia and Home Circle, the Graziani family store. Remember, welovecrabcakes.com. If you're headed to the shore, check out Captain Chucky's at the shore.com.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a serious heart condition. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. My HCM impacted how I felt and what I could do. So I asked my cardiologist about treatment advances that gave me new options. That conversation was big for me. Talk to your cardiologist today. You may be glad you did.
John was compensated for his time. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb.
It's college season, and parents have a lot to consider.
You can say that again.
You got 6 college visits,
2 down,
18 care packages.
I know my baby.
Then there's Parents Weekend.
Just one?
Speaking of, when you get a Citizens student loan with multi-year approval, all you need is one easy application. Learn more at citizensbank.com/one and done. Citizens, made ready.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Clouds and some sunshine for the rest of the morning, up to 80 degrees at noon. Partly sunny and breezy, a high of 84 today. Friday turns mostly cloudy. A spotty shower is possible during the day. Late day thunderstorms also possible with the cold front swinging through the area. 80 Friday afternoon, then turning warmer as that cold front clears the area for Saturday. Partly sunny and 84. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Weather sponsored by Piazza. Visit Piazza Volkswagen of Ardmore and Langhorne to test drive the 2023 Volkswagen Atlas, Atlas Cross Sport, Tiguan, and more. Or shop online at piazzavw.com today.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Big issues, big guest, someone that's become a household name here due to his courage, his patience, his fortitude, his principles. Mark Houck made a lot of news yesterday in a very, very interesting way, throwing his hat into the ring to run against sitting congressman. Is it 3 terms going on 4? This is his 4th run, I think. Brian Fitzpatrick out in Bucks County. Mark Houck with us on Talk Radio 1210. Mark, congratulations are in order, I guess. But sometimes when people run, I say that at the beginning and say, you probably have been told this could be a rough road.
The story keeps evolving, doesn't it, Dom? Well, here we are, and blessed to be able to announce yesterday and be with your audience today.
Why this vehicle? You have obviously your other vehicles of what you're doing out there, your organization, your work, and a bigger platform now after the egregious acts against you and your family. Why take this course of action, though, to go into politics to do what?
Well, the short answer is the public is falling apart. But the long answer is a journey of faith and asking God what his will is for my life. And, you know, since the acquittal, actually before the acquittal in early January, people were encouraging me to run, which I quickly dismissed. And then more people of influence were encouraging me to run. Took it to some prayer. And, you know, we've realized, our family, my wife, Ryan Marie, and our children, that this is a family decision, that God is calling us and that we have a duty to follow his will in this way. And we have a duty to save the republic. I think of George Washington and his reluctance to become president, not that I'm comparing myself to him, but you know, he felt it his duty to do that, and he didn't want a second term, and he decided that it was important enough to do that. So I realize there's a reluctance there that is actually a good thing. Probably makes me a good candidate versus someone who wants to be a politician. But given that God wants it, we're in it to win it, and I look forward to the journey.
All right, we talk in broad terms, and we're in agreement about the Republic needing men like Mark Houck in different roles. Well, what are the particular issues that you think are front and center? 2-part question, Mark. One,
sure,
that, you know, your life story, what you've lived and believed in, put them there. But 2, why Fitzpatrick is the person that has to be beaten in this race.
Well, sure. So let's start with two first. I'm a native of Bucks County. I grew up in Lower Bucks County. I live up in Upper Bucks County. I lived here my whole life for 48 years. And, I know the Fitzpatrick family. I knew Mike well, his brother. I've met his dad. They're good people. Unfortunately, Brian is my congressman who hasn't been representing my views and many others in our district. And it's difficult to swallow. And in light of the national attention that I have gotten, God seems to be opening up this door. And I got to go to the old Isaiah. Here I am, Lord, send me. Perhaps for such a time as this. That's one quote on my campaign website. For such a time as this. So I feel like it is God's call for me and the family at this point. And, we're going to approach this with integrity, and we're not going to mudfling. We're not here to disparage Brian for his service to our great country, but I think it's time for Brian to move on to other things in his life, and we need to get fresh ideas, fresh perspectives on the Hill, and I'm happy to do that. Bring me back to your first question, Dom. I forget it.
Yes. Okay. I didn't mean to do that, but I am enjoying this whole thing. Has a lot of tremendous amount. You probably have a sense, but maybe not, of how much interest there is with our listeners around you and around this. And it's mixed with celebration and also Doug Mastriano. I don't think you're Doug Mastriano, but I have to tell you, Mark, I found this to be a disaster. Do you see any similarities, or do you see a difference in the way, without attacking Doug personally? He's a fine guy, but the campaign, what it was based on, is not a winner statewide, and I don't think it'd be a winner here. Do you see any distinctions?
You'd have to educate me on that. I know he ran on faith too, and I don't know enough about what you're alluding to. Yeah, good.
I don't hear you saying it's one thing to talk about faith in the man, or every interview I've heard you in with me, and it's another you know what? I'll let you get up to speed on that. Maybe then we'll talk, because I don't want to make it about Doug, but I'm telling you that's some of the concern listeners have because of what happened there. So let me come back. We obviously know the life issue, and we'll get to that in a second. But is it your lived experience for this government overreach in our lives, in your case and your kids, a brutal fashion? Is that the signature you think that you'll talk about? Or is there something else that Fitzpatrick's not representing that you think you'll talk about?
Okay, yeah. So going to DC it's central to the fact that the government is out of control, and we're going there to protect families, right? To protect people in the district, yes, but protect the American citizens from what happened to me happened to them. So that, of course, that's central. Obviously, I'm very pro-life. I think everyone knows that, and that's why all that happened to me. But, I'm not just a one-trick pony either. I have thoughts and ideas and things, too. I was an educator. I taught in the Philadelphia public school system, Cheltenham School District. I'm a teacher by trade. I worked in the juvenile justice system in Bucks County for almost 5 years. That's how I got to know Mike Fitzpatrick when he was county commissioner. But, so I have thoughts about a lot of things, about commerce, about infrastructure, but also about our nation and what has to happen with regards to Ukraine, our vets. I do a healing.
Can I stop you there? I didn't know if that was going to be all point, because we got these other big things. I'm glad you mentioned Ukraine, though. Do you differ with Fitzpatrick on that?
So obviously he's on the committee, for Ukraine crisis, and he's doing what he needs to do there. I don't know all that he's invested in. I know he's been over there a lot, but my support is for the Ukrainian people, right? The war is terrible. I'm anxious to hear how President Trump's going to end it in 24 hours. So like the rest of us, I'd be interested to know that. But war is terrible. There's never a good reason to continue a war, and we have to engage in helping the Ukrainian people. And those are the policies I would support.
Mark Houck with us on Talk Radio 1210. If you were, well, you're running now, will you endorse anyone for president? You do have a national platform. And if so, who would that be?
Yeah, sure. I'm not prepared to make that statement today, but look, President Trump had my votes in his two previous elections. I will report back to you on that once we figure out who the nominee is. But my history of voting was for President Trump.
Okay.
I was thrilled with President Trump as president for the most part. I loved what he did. He brought us the triplets in the Supreme Court. Of course, I'm going to love that. And that brought us an end to Roe. So, look, he's my front runner as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Now, the life issue, back to that, and you're exemplary on this. And again, at least as far as I can tell, the tone that you strike on this is almost pitch perfect to me in a lot of ways. But we have a sitting Republican who has the formula to win that, Mark, the criticism would be. And the House is going to be close. And in 2024, it might be very close to maintain control. Whatever else happens, we got to at least have the House, the power of the purse, and everything else. Why would we roll the dice with you, first timer to this, when we have a guy who's got the formula? The only time he was challenged, the Wallace guy spent enormously, as you know. It was a fierce thing. Other than that, he might be a pretty sure bet to stay there. Why must we make this change?
That's a great question. And, it's one that requires more thought. But I'll give you my preliminary reaction to that. Look, what happened to me, Dom, and the journey, it was a very galvanizing thing for the nation. A lot of people resonated with me and my family and our plight and our journey and just who we are. I'm a dad. I'm a father.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like you. There was a lot of Me Too going on out there with regard to, my experience and story. So, I think we're going to galvanize and unite the district. I don't think we're going to divide the district. Why is a change needed? Because Brian doesn't vote like a pro-lifer. With his recent vote with supporting abortion in the military, that's just case in point. But, his record is not pro-life. Now, again, I understand what you're saying with regard to, the numbers in the House. I think if we're truly supporting the sanctity of human life, that I'm an easy ticket pull, right, for someone. I think it would be easier for them to do that. I voted for Brian every election so far, and I just am not happy that he does not and continues to vote this way, represent the pro-life vote. So, that's just where I look at it.
I hear you. Well, look, and you're very honest. I appreciate that too, that you have some preliminary thoughts, but over the course of time, develop them answers to this question. So is there a website? Do you have that all set up? Where do we go? People want to donate, volunteer, know more about Mark Houck. What do they do?
Yeah. HouckforCongress.com is the website. And, we pulled this all together last week. It's been a quick turnaround. So I ask your audience to be patient with some hiccups we're having with the site. But it's Houck, Houck, for Congress.com.
Well, we know this. If you have the 7 kids out there volunteering, that's an army right there to start with. So it'll be a lot of fun. Well, look, we hope to host a debate because I like Brian personally, as you just said, too. We've had conflict. I guess the biggest conflict is not 100 votes, but it's these votes, Mark. You can go back and see where only 10 or 11 Republicans vote with the Democrats on. 90% of the time, he's in that column. That's the thing, that these are often serious votes that set people off.
Sure. Yeah, and it sets me off. So,
yeah.
Look, I'm not here to disparage them, but yeah, it's time. Look, didn't our founding fathers desire people to have limit to their terms in politics and in the legislature? In its 4th term, as you mentioned, it's time for a change, and I don't think we need politicians that are career politicians. I'm not stating anything that anyone else doesn't have a thought here on your show, but it's time to move aside, and I think we have a civic duty to assume our role for the next person. And I think Brian, it's just time for him to go. We don't need more Chuck Schumers and Ted Kennedys in the House.
Parting question for you, and I'm asking this more of a tactical sense. You'll see why in a moment. Where do you stand on the idea with abortion? I'm talking as a candidate for office on limits, life of the mother. I realize the argument over the rarity of that, rape, incest. In other words, the three exceptions. What does Mark Kalk say in this campaign about that?
Look, when conscience is aborted, truth is distorted. And I believe that those exceptions are not exceptions at all.
Okay.
When it comes to rape, incest, and life of the mother, my faith informs me on some of that. But let me say rape and incest, look, the child does not commit the crime. This is the classic answer. We need to prosecute the criminal in this case. The child doesn't deserve the death penalty. And the reality of it is we are further victimizing the mother. And so once we start recognizing that, we'll realize that rape and incest is not a good excuse to terminate a human being.
All right.
Now, lastly,
Mark, could I interrupt and just say, as a principal, I support you right on that, of course, and you are a man of that. Tactically, though, I differ with you. I don't know that that's winnable in Bucks County. I know it's a new campaign, if you've done polling on that, et cetera. Or you might say you're going to convince hearts and minds. Have you given any sense to that? I know statewide you're not going to win with the no exceptions, whether that's right or wrong. Let's put that aside. I know it's hard to put it aside, but I'm saying as a political campaign, I don't believe you can win. I'm not sure in Bucks County what makes you think you can overcome what is the consensus, at least.
Yeah. And, gentle as a dove, wise as a serpent. I appreciate your thoughts on that. But let's look at this. The government had a 98% conviction rate when they banged on my door and brought M16 guns and indicted me. So I had a 2% chance of winning. So I'm not afraid of the odds. I'm not afraid of the district and what that is. We may have an opportunity to educate a lot of people, but I didn't address the issue of death of the mother. The death of the mother it brings up a principle of double effect. And if a woman has a threat to her life, there is this principle of double effect as you try to preserve the mother's life. As a result, the baby may be aborted. Now, that's a moral issue, and I support that. So on those three issues that you bring up, we got to distinguish between, the terms as it relates to death of the mother, which I can get behind. I can't get behind rape and incest, though.
Well, look, you know what? You just did something really good there. I'm glad you took that and went back to it because that clarifies it a lot. Because to me, it's a moral principle. It's my wife. It's her life has precedence over that. We do everything we can to save the child. But if it comes, I know how rare that is that we're talking stuff, but it's going to come up again. Well, Mark, I am thrilled, though, that you're into the race. With all due, you bring a whole lot to this. And I hope as it develops, you'll come back again and again, particularly as you flesh this out a little bit more and give it more thought. I don't think that's compromising your principles. It's just kind of sharpening, how the media is, et cetera, what's going to happen around this.
Well, I appreciate your input, your wisdom, and your knowledge of these things. And, I'm as green as my grass growing outside right now. So I will take all of that under good counsel. And we got a good team. And I would just invite more people to come forward and help us with those skills at helpforcongress.com. We can take some volunteers, and we're building momentum, and we're blessed. I'd be happy to come back on the show with you.
Houck, Houck. Say hello to Stan Costachio, too. That's a good advisor you have there.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, very much. All right, Dan, it was painful to bring that up at the end. I was waiting to the end to do that just to see where this would go. I got to be consistent in this. I'm saying across the state, I think you have a better chance across the state potentially to win if you are against the three exceptions. In Bucks County, I don't see how it's possible.
Yeah.
I'm talking general election. I'm not talking the Republican primary.
Morality completely aside, we're talking winning here. And I don't know if that's a route to a win. And he mentioned, quote, changing hearts and minds. I would like to believe that could be possible, but it seems people are so rooted in their beliefs on this topic that, they're not going to change their vote within this amount of time and change their mind and heart.
Right. Right.
It's tough, man. Like
I like what he said on the mother, though. Very thoughtful answer. He's a thoughtful guy. And I hear what he said about rape and incest. But the reality is, in a general election in Bucks County, just the mere mention of Mark's background, as much as we see it, I'll speak for conservatives in general. I mean, the big story here, and I'm glad he's making that the main thing in his campaign, it's the overkill of government. Just the sheer unrelenting brutality of this punk, Merrick Garland, Biden, the devout Catholic. But I'm not going to tell you something that I don't believe, and I don't see how you win on this issue. Now, in the next cycle, by 2026 or 2028, maybe the abortion issue is not, but given the Democrats, that's all that they have. You know what's going to happen on that. But it is thrilling to see a real contender this time to Brian Fitzpatrick. Give me your response, 855-839-1210. You know, there are certain home maintenance insurers we'd all rather not do, like repainting the exterior of your home every 5 years. Who wants to do that? Here's an incredible permanent solution to that problem, Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield looks like paint, goes on like paint, but it never chips, cracks, or fades. It's ceramic coating. It's guaranteed for life. You never have to paint again. The local Rhino Shield owner, John Gilgee, great guy, friend of the program, impressed with both the product and the company. Perfect for any surface. You get the beauty of fresh paint, maintenance of vinyl, even insulates your home, comes with a 25-year guarantee that you can transfer if you sell your home. Now, John meets with as many homeowners as he can himself. They've helped thousands of Delaware Valley residents, including many of my listeners, upgrade the look and quality of their home. You call John Gilgee right now, get an incredible 20% off. Visit myrhinoshield.com or 844-RHINO-99, 844-RHINO-99.
Hi, everyone. This is Stephanie Kelly from Emmons Roofing and Siding, and I have some exciting news to share. Emmons has partnered with SunPower, the top-rated home solar company in New Jersey. SunPower has been leading the solar industry for over 37 years and is the only U.S. solar company that's lasted longer than their 25-year warranty. Kill the bill. The energy bill, that is. Imagine no more high energy bills, while all the while helping reduce your carbon footprint at no cost to you. It's a win-win. Yes, we now offer solar, but remember, if you need a new roof, siding, doors, windows, or interior remodeling, don't wait. Right now, Emmons is offering all 1210 listeners 10% off roofing, siding, and Anderson windows. And we are continuing to offer 12-month same-as cash financing. And don't forget that lifetime warranty on your roof. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 856-885-6677, emmonsroofing.com. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, kitchens, baths, and solar. Trust Emmons to be your first and last stop for all your home improvement needs. emmonsroofing.com.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here for United Tire. Is your car's AC unit making you sweat? Then it's time to cool off and cash in on savings at United Tire. Get that cold blast back and save $50 on any AC service with the purchase of 4 new tires from select brands at United Tire. Air conditioning problems are no problem at United Tire. So keep cool this summer and stop into your locally owned United Tire or make an appointment today at unitedtire.com. That's unitedtire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Dust off those renovation plans and start designing that new kitchen of your dreams with some help from Colonial Marble and Granite. Colonial Marble and Granite is offering fully installed countertops for just $14.99 or an all-in kitchen for $6,999, including cabinetry, countertops, and sink and faucet package. You heard right, $6,999 all-in kitchen. Stop by a Colonial Marble and Granite area showroom to see their amazing selection of products or make an appointment for a free in-home consultation. Visit colonialmarble.net.
You're invited to a private showing of the most important movie you'll see in retirement. The Baby Boomer Dilemma is a groundbreaking documentary from award-winning director Doug Orchard. Throughout the film, Nobel Prize winners, PhDs, and esteemed economists expose the cracks in the financial industry that have 401ks, IRAs, Social Security, and other retirement plans on the brink of collapse. After the movie, you'll receive an education that's unlike any other. Learn how to apply the solutions presented by these experts, which align with and validate our proprietary crash-proof retirement system, proven by over 5,000 consumers. Join us at the Falls at the Doubletree in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, August 16th, and let Crash Proof Retirement provide you the crucial information you need to avoid the baby boomer dilemma that's on the horizon. Registration is required. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Calling on Sewell, New Jersey to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
To the courthouse in downtown D.C. You can't get enough of it. Every news cable channel. It's amazing.
It's like
And
OJ.
yeah, it is. And it happens every other month. I'd love to get your reaction to Mark Houck, particularly if you're in Bucks County, but not even. Are you thrilled by this? Here's a real man of God, real guy of faith. Perfect example of the federal government run amok, going wild. And he beat him. Yet, would he win in Bucks County? Say he beat Brian Fitzpatrick. Would he win? It's hard to find a candidate to beat Brian Fitzpatrick in the primary there, at least so far, that can win the general election or even beat Brian Fitzpatrick. Or does this guy, we don't know, there might be two people running against him or more. Does Mark Houck then increase the chances of Brian Fitzpatrick? I realize it's a dilemma. It's a huge dilemma. All right, we'll get into more of that. 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. Why does Al Sharpton think Madison and Jefferson didn't overthrow the government? We'll play that too on Talk Radio 1210.
Your new kitchen appliances look stunning. Thanks. We had a blast shopping for them at National Appliance Warehouse. There's over 100 brands in their huge show.